Welcome back, everyone. NicknLex here. Thank you so much for joining me today to this new episode. Today, Dave is giving us a grunge marathon. Thank you so much, Dave, for sponsoring this video. And there's a couple of bands I've never heard of, and of course, two bands are very familiar, which are Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots. But let's get into the list here real quick. If you're a grunge fan, welcome. If you're a rock fan, welcome. If you're a music fan, welcome. We hope you're gonna have a good time here. It says here, Dave, it says, this marathon will cover rock with some grunge of the 90s into early 2000s. I believe 3 of these bands will be new to the channel. Exactly. Again, feel free to put them in any order. Okay. And then here's his order. I think I'm just gonna play them in your order. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Yellow Ledbetter, isn't that beautiful song that has that Jimi Hendrix vibe? I think I've heard it before, but I really want to listen to it again, and it's perfect for the marathon. So I'm just gonna leave it on Yellow Ledbetter. I've heard it before, but I don't remember the whole thing. I don't remember the lyrics. I don't remember the chorus. I just know that the intro is very Hendrixy, and I would love to keep it in the marathon. So we're gonna start it off with Cracker. I've never heard of this band. This is the song Low from Kerosene Hat. Let's see. This is from 1993. All right, cool. And then Bush, never heard of them. Comedown is the song from 16 Stone, 1994. Ooh, I know who's gonna have a blast with this one. Ooh, Matt, I'm talking to you. Matt is a grunge guy, you know, and a punk guy. I mean, he's all sorts of music, all sorts of great stuff. If I'm too loud, I'm not too loud. Okay, and then Blurry, another band that I'm sorry, Puddle of Mud is another band I've never heard of. Blurry, Come Clean is the song. All right, and then Stone Temple Pilots, Crackerman. Now, I do remember this album, Core. One of my best friends had this album. I even had it in my possession for a week or two, but I don't remember the song. I think the last time I heard it must have been, I don't know, you know, at least 20 years ago. So we're good. We're good. I was very, very young, so I didn't understand about music or anything. I didn't appreciate music that much. I mean, I liked music, but I didn't have an idea what it was, what it really meant, the whole thing, you know. And then Pearl Jam here from Review Mirror. I know this is on a different album but I couldn't find it. There were like 5 versions. Pearl Jam apparently has like over 40 albums because they pulled out all the demos and stuff. So I know this is the version that Dave wants, Yellow Ledbetter. This is from the greatest hits. So I don't really know. I'm gonna look it up right now once I play it, but it I think it's early 2000s when I heard it, I think, or 2010, something like that. So yeah. Okay, so let's get it started again. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a fan of rock, pop, metal, you know, whatever, prog rock, whatever, you know, we listen to it all here. We have no kind of like, we don't discriminate any sorts of music. So yeah, let's get into some grunge, and thank you for being here. Thank you for posting in the comment section if you have any stories to tell about this. Maybe you were, you know, a teenager when this came out. I don't know, you know, maybe this is your music, so let us know. And because we love the community and we love to talk about music. So, all right, so Cracker it is. Here we go with Low, and I can't wait. Thank you again, Dave, and everyone. I hope you enjoy. So let's go.
Sometime take you down, let the river flow. Sometimes I'm gonna walk the street behind a green sheet of glass, a million miles below their feet, a million miles, a million miles. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. A million pop is gonna make me sleep, but just one rose, it knows your name. A fruit is rusting on the vine. A fruit is calling from the trees. Hey, don't you wanna go down like some chunky cosmonaut? A million miles below their feet. A million miles, a million miles. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. Blue, blue is the sun.
Very good. I love it.
A brown, brown's the sky. A green, green are her eyes. A million miles, a million miles. Hey, don't you wanna go down like some disgraced cosmonaut? A million miles below their feet. A million miles, a million miles. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned. I'll be with you, girl, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned.
I like it. I really like it. I'm surprised that I've never even heard of this band, like not even its name, because they were pretty big. Let's see. So Kerosene Hat, and released on August 24th, 93, reached number 1 on Billboard's Top Heat Seekers chart. So I don't really know what that means because I didn't live in the US at the time. I was still back in Germany. I was just a little kid, you know. So yeah. So I didn't live, you know, the moment. So I guess, you know, there's only a couple of bands that I think they were so big that I did get into them. Like Nirvana, you know, or Pearl Jam, that you just like, when you go through music or you go to a record store, and I was into Guns N' Roses for some reason at the time, and I still like them, you know, don't get me wrong. And you just see, you know, albums back when it was still a thing, you know, where you would go to a record store and spend hours there and just go. And you just see, you know, covers, and I would see 10 and Verses and Nevermind, you know, by Nirvana and stuff like that. But I never saw this one because it sounds really good. It has more, I think this has a little bit of a country vibe. Not like a country music, but it's just like the slide, you know, and the whole vibe is very, I don't know. So it even says here, you know, alternative rock, alternative country. If that's, I didn't even know that was a genre, but grunge, and obviously that's like the one, you know. So really some cool stories here about the, I'm loving this, you know, the new Wikipedia site. I kind of like figured it out, you know. It was always kind of like, oh, it would give me a headache because it's so bright, you know, doing these videos, and now it's all like nice and dark and it's easy to read, you know. So but yeah, I really enjoyed this, you know. It was nice. There was a nice riff going on there, and the slide, of course, you know. So I'm getting better with the slide, you know, even though there's not a lot of music that I play with a slide, but just that, you know, holding it, you know, and playing and getting, you know, playing a little bit of like lead guitar with the slide is becoming a bit easier because I want to be in control. I want to be able to move all my 4 fingers, you know, and with that, it just kind of like puts your hand on some sort of a lock, you know, when you have the where is it? I always have it. It's always around, and now it's missing in action. Well, yeah, it's definitely missing. Maybe I was using it, but yeah, the slide kind of like it locks in your pinky, you know, or your middle finger, depending on how do you use it. And yeah, it's but it's a nice add-on, you know, that on the Crybaby, the wah pedal, you can come up with some really cool stuff. I think my slide, you know, comes in when like David Gilmour uses it, you know, and Division Bell, but that's more like a completely different guitar. That's the guitar that's on the, you know, the steel guitar, you know. That's a completely different instrument, but it has, you know, a sound, similarities in sound. But yeah, this was very nice. Thank you so much, Dave, for the introduction. I hope if there's any, you know, Cracker fans out there, welcome. Great band. Now Bush is another band that I've heard the name, but I've never heard them or seen any cover. But yeah, I do remember that these guys from Bush, obviously I've heard the name. But for example, Cracker and Puddle of Mud, I've never heard the name. So I guess Dave already knew that these were new to me. So here we go with Bush. Comedown is the song. Here we go. The beated bass line, but faster. Oh, Billie Jean. Dum, 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 dum. So yeah, definitely the do dum 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 do 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 reminds me, of course, of Michael Jackson bass line from Billie Jean, I think. Dum 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 dum. I don't know. Now I'm confused. I think it's Billie Jean, but it's such an epic bass line. I mean, I'm sure it's been played before Michael Jackson. You know, it does. That's the beauty of music, that you can come up with the same notes or the same sounds and stuff. What I love about this band, it reminds me a little bit of a band that Alexia just got me interested in, because we're gonna go see them, which is Creed. And I think the voice is a little bit similar. I hope that's a good thing, you know, because I think Creed is a pretty cool band. I don't think they're considered grunge. I think they're heavier. I think that's more alternative. I think it's after the grunge move, like proto grunge, if that even exists. Yeah. Oh, post, I think they would call it post. I don't know, but really cool. I'm loving the voice. I'm loving the distortion, the drums. His voice sounds very, very good. Very cool. Very cool.
There is no blame, only shame. When you beg, you just complain. More I come, more I try. All police are paranoid. So am I. So is the future. So are you. Be a creature. Do you say? Do you do? When it all comes down. 'Cause I don't wanna come back down from this cloud. Taking me all this time to find out what I need. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't wanna come back down from this cloud. Taking me all this time. Love and hate, get it wrong. Just cut me right back down to size. Sleep the day, let it fade. Who was there to take your place? No one knows, never will. Mostly on me, mostly on you. What do you say? Do you do? When it all comes down. 'Cause I don't wanna come back down from this cloud. Taking me all this time to find out what I need. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't wanna come back down from this cloud. Taking me all this time.
Okay, really quickly. So, I think he sounds more like Kurt Cobain now. Now, I don't know why I said Creed. I guess when the distortion was like full blast, it did sound like Creed. But he sounds like, now that I'm listening to the whole like vibe is very Nirvana. Maybe not the sound of the band, but the voice, just the way Kurt would like sing and kind of like pronounce, and just like, I don't know, there's something about Kurt Cobain's voice that's very recognizable, and I think this guy kind of like really knew how to, you know, imitate that, or it's his natural voice. I don't know. I don't want to discredit anyone, especially from, you know, 30 years ago. I think this is great music. And I did look him up. There were two bands called Bush, and this is from Great Britain, this band. So that's already like weird, because it does sound like an American band. I don't know. You can't hear any accent or anything. Now, it could be that the singer is American. Let's see. So Gavin, No, he's from England. So okay, I really like this. You know, it's really cool. And unfortunately, when this band came out, Nirvana had already disbanded because, unfortunately, Kurt Cobain was no longer with us at that time. So that's, yeah, it is what it is. You know, let's keep going. Very cool. And there's this feature, I don't know if it's been going on forever, but usually when you listen to music on your phone on Spotify, you see like a little video playing, and you can now see that video as well. It's like a 5-second clip that just loops. It's a cool idea. It's a cool thing that you can get an idea, you know, how the band looks, or the vocalist or whatever. I like it. But yeah, this was a good band, good sounding stuff. Like, I would definitely listen to this, being, you know, the metal guy or jazz fusion guy that I am. This is, I mean, even Cracker, Bush, like, I'm not opposed to this music at all. It's really good, you know. And I just like that I've changed a little bit over the past 2 years, you know. I'm just like not so not every song has to have a guitar solo. Like, that's the way I was just, like, I guess, programmed, you know. And if it didn't have a solo or some sort of like extravagant guitar technique, then I wasn't really impressed. But I don't know. I think that's just part of being, you know, when you're a guitar player, you just expect that for a while, you know, when you're younger. And now I can just appreciate the simpler things. And it does. I don't even think it's simple at all. It's, every music has its challenges, you know. And so yeah, this was really good. So now, Puddle of Mud. This is Blurry, and let's check them out. Here we go.
Everything's so blurry and everyone's so fake. oceans in between us, but that's not very far. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? When you shoved it in my face, this pain you gave to me. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? When you shoved it in my face, this pain you gave to me. Oh, nobody told me what you thought. Nobody told me what to say. Everyone showed you where to turn, showed you where to run away. Nobody told you where to hide. Nobody told you what to say. Everyone showed you where to turn, showed you where to run away. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? When you shoved it in my face, this pain you get to me. Can you take it all away? Can you take it all away? When you shoved it in my face, this pain you get to me. No, this pain you get to me.
Nice. Very cool. Like the harmonics at the end and the chord progression, you know, even though, like I said, it's not the most complicated, but it is effective. It's good. I love the lyrics. I love just the time. You can feel that it was a different time, and I wonder sometimes, is there a chance we would ever go back into that sort of thinking? Like, for example, when I listen to 70s music, it's very, there's a certain amount of like freedom to it. It's very artistic. It's very experimental. There's a lot of, you like just 70s music as a whole. Like, I think rock, you know, 70s rock, there's a lot of messages, you know, of peace and stuff. I don't know, like, I mean, there's so many genres, right? But it's just like the music itself is just like everybody was just coming up with great, like, new ideas for music. Like when you listen to, I don't know, like from Black Sabbath, they were coming up with very distorted stuff like this, or Genesis was coming up, you know, or Kansas, or Yes, very progressive stuff, like a lot of musical ideas in the music, you know, a lot of times changes and time signatures and chord changes and passages. And it was just like a very, and you, of course you had other music, you know, like that was more simple, but and then the 80s was, I think, in rock very important, you know, the guitar solo became very much the focus, and the singer and the whole spectacle of it, you know. But I think every decade had it like its message, you know, like the 80s was almost like the sex, drugs, and rock. But also the 70s was also sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But I think more conservative, you know, more pulled back. And then the 80s, it was just like excess, you know. And in the 90s, I think they pulled back in the music, I think in the musical scene, but it was just a more simpler time. People were kind of like fed up with the whole hair metal and the whole guitar solo and the galloping of guitars. And it was just more like, you know, simpler music, and people really like that, you know. I mean, of course there was bands that were from the 70s that were still playing the same stuff in the 80s and 90s, you know. I mean, once you come up with a style, you stick to it. But I think the newer bands that were coming out, and you can also see that in the early 2000s, you know, I think with Creed or whatever, you know, like bands that were coming out, and in 2010, and then there's bands from the 90s who started, like, I don't know, Dream Theater, and then they're still sounding like in the 90s right now, you know. So, but it's just like the whole, it's like fashion, you know, like in the 70s it was very, you know, everybody had long hair, I guess, you know, and a beard and a mustache, you know. And then the 80s everybody had like short hair, and it was a very styled, a lot of gel and hairspray, you know. And then in the 90s everybody's just like, you know, let's just play in shorts, you know, and without a shirt on stage, you know. It's so crazy how every decade had its changes. And then the last 20 years, I think, I don't know, you know, it has changed so much. And now we're at a point where I don't know if music will ever be the same, because of it's so easy to make music. It's just like, you don't even have to have any sort of knowledge of music. You just talk into your phone and it basically creates the music. So obviously I think people will always be steering towards real music, and it will be identifiable if it's like AI or anything, you know. I watched this guy on YouTube, and he, for some reason, every episode that he plays, or every show that he does, he starts it off with a song, like an AI song that he comes up with, and it's just like, you can hear that it's AI, and it's just like, it's pretty impressive what it can do, because it's a song with a structure, with an intro, and with a, you know, with a chorus, and in a middle section, and an outro, and maybe even a guitar solo. It's pretty impressive, but it just like, for now, you still notice, you know. And I'm not like, I can't say I'm a fan of the sound. It just sounds fake, you know. It's just like, I think it's almost for it's more like a comical thing that he does. He's like, I'm gonna come up with these crazy lyrics, I'm gonna make a song, and he has no musical background whatsoever. He just does it on his phone or on his computer. So like, but my question is just like, I wish that we would go back into a decade that's very musically rich and full of, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen again, you know. I don't know. It's because we live in a totally different age. The internet is such a different place. It has impacted pretty much everything. I mean, we just saw that, you know, when the internet just like left the planet for a couple of hours, and you saw the result. Like, we literally now depend on the internet for our banks and for our airplanes and everything, doctors, and so it's pretty intense. Like, I hope people, you know, that actually own these companies and they come up with their systems that we need some sort of backup, you know. So because of the internet drops, we're basically screwed, you know. So I just think, I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. I really wish it would. Like an era of just creativity, and I don't know. Maybe, I mean, it is, if you look at everything else, I mean, creativity is everywhere, you know. If you watch newer movies, if they're not all like super like agenda driven like pieces of crap, then they're actually good films, you know, because you can really use the technology to make a great film. You know, there's some stuff that has come out which is impressive and beautiful, and it's like, wow, they actually made a second part of this, like Top Gun, for example. That I never thought that movie was going to be so good, but it was also, there was so much love put into that movie, and it is better than the first one, you know. And the first one was more like a cheesy kind of like, you know, and the effects were not that good, and the second one just blew my mind, like the way everything was filmed and the actors in the cockpits, and they were actually flying. Maybe they're not flying for real, but they were in the cockpits, you know, stuff like that. So technology can be used for great things, for great films. I'm sure for great movies and scores, but it's just also, unfortunately, if it goes into the wrong hands, it can be used for a lot of shit, you know, a lot of bad music, a lot of bad movies, about a lot of bad stuff. But hey, my rant's going on forever. It's just like, you know, it's just a thought, because this music takes me back and to just simpler days, and I mean almost every music that I listen to, but it's just like, I just wish such creativity would come back, you know. Okay, so now Stone Temple Pilots, though, like I said, so this album core, I had it in my hands, you know. I'm sure I've listened to it all, but I wouldn't remember. This is too long ago. So here we go with some Stone Temple Pilots. So I've heard some other Stone Temple Pilots. It's crazy how much he sounds like Eddie Vedder here, or Chris Cornell. But it was, I think, at that time, that voice, that, you know, it was just so, it was such a seller, you know. If you had such a deep voice like Eddie Vedder, then you would just like, it would sell. And I'm sure that they did very, very good, but I'm sure they were also compared to Pearl Jam quite a lot, you know, especially after, I don't know, when did this come out? So I know that 10 was released in 91. Okay, so this is literally 1992. So I'm sure it was like, hey, who are these like Pearl Jam imitators? But it's all good. I love the energy, I love the riffs, I love the voice. I know that he changed his voice later, because I've heard some Stone Temple Pilots and it sounds completely different. I think this was more to, you know, ride the wave of the, you know. Really, I love it though. It's really good.
And I think too much. And I'm thinking, while I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, while I'm thinking.
this must have been so much fun to play live, and it sounds really good. I remember when I was the last band I was in for, like, before I met Alexia, and she loved that band. You know, she would go and see the band, and that's actually how we met. And we had like everything. We were playing Megadeth, and we were playing Metallica and Iron Maiden and ZZ Top and Led Zeppelin. And but there were some songs where we had to tune. I would actually have a second guitar just there. That's the guitar I would just use for these sorts of songs, like Drop D and or grunge and stuff like that. And I would just leave that guitar there because it wasn't really a guitar I would take care of that much. You know, it was just like a jam guitar that was tuned in Drop D, and I would just use that for those songs. But that was so much fun to play, you know, like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. Although Pearl Jam is not really in Drop D, but there were some songs, you know, that we would play. And it was just so much fun to play, like, just power chords, you know. Don't worry about a solo or some sort of harmony part, you know. It was just where you could move around the most, you know, on stage. And we would always get on this, there was like the stage, and then in front of us was like this, on the stage was some sort of a bar you could sit on at, and then at the end there were some stools, and there was a bar that where you could basically face from the stage towards everybody else, and you could just be drinking there, but you could look at everybody that was in the bar, and behind you was the band. So we would always get on the stool and then on the bar, and we would do like this whole like with rock and roll. Like we would always get up there, and it was kind of dangerous to do that now that I think of it, but man, you know, we were just like very, very young, and it wouldn't kind of like hurt either. You jump down, it was super high, and then just jump down with your guitar. But man, you know, when you're 20 years old, nothing hurts, you know, you're just made out of steel. So yeah, that was a good time. So fun. And yeah, we would, and I guess, you know, like songs with just like one or two chords, it was so much fun to play because you could just do all this other stuff, you know, be headbanging the entire time, and people, you know, people that don't play, they don't know, you know. And when we would play Iron Maiden, we were very concentrated doing we were just standing there like like a candle, because it's like all the solo stuff, and then it comes the middle section, and it's played in thirds and harmony guitar, and you know, and then comes your solo, and then you have to play the rhythm for the other solo, and then the outro, and yeah, it's different, you know. So, but I love this music. It's very cool. It makes me feel good. So Pearl Jam. So this is the one that I consider has this beautiful intro that it reminds me a little bit of Jimi Hendrix. Let's see if that's the one. Maybe I've been just, you know, hallucinating, but let's see. Let's check it out. Wait. Oh man. Okay. This is what happens when I talk too much. It decides to crash, which is kind of, it's okay. I guess they do update now and then, and when they update, when Spotify updates, then your next song you have to reset the app. All right, so here we go. Pearl Jam. Takes a little while for everything to load. Here we go. Yellow Ledbetter. Yeah. Sounds like Hendrix. Like Little Wing, I guess.
On a season, on a portion that I they don't wave. I see them.
So this track, I don't know why the hell it doesn't have lyrics, because it's very hard to understand them. It's almost like he, you know, that's the way he sings, but I've never really noticed the way that he slurs his words very, very efficiently, and that's his style, and I love it. And there's many vocalists that do it, you know, and but I just really wanted to read the lyrics, and I can't understand them. Let's just try more. But a beautiful song. Just I don't know what it is about. Now I'm gonna pay more attention, but just the structure of the song is amazing.
I see them round the runway, and I know I don't wanna say. Make me cry.
Nice. Beautiful intro and the outro. And I'm sure that the guitar player came up with this beauty just by messing around with the guitar, just like, you know, playing with some clean guitar, some reverb on there, some chorus, you know. Beautiful, man. Great marathon. Thank you so much, Dave. This, like, is, yeah, it's like, you know, when we listen to Genesis, or when we listen to 80s Rush or 70s Rush, you get thrown into that time period, and it's just fascinating, you know. With every time period, I think I've I would enjoy every one, and this one as well. You know, yes, we have said in other videos, oh man, we would have loved to be born before, you know, to live. And yes, maybe, you know, to live in a different, like, to be in your 20s in the 70s, let's say, you know, something like that. But I mean, for a reason we were put onto this earth now, and that's it, you know. Make the best of it and enjoy and learn your lesson and get out of here, you know. That's it, you know. I mean, we're here for a reason, and we can enjoy stuff like, you know, the 50s and 60s and 70s, and we can and even more, I guess now there's even more opportunity to kind of like travel, you know, because there's access to everything. It must feel weird, like, for someone who has, let's say, you've been collecting like records for 40-50 years, and now everything is just available, you know, at a push of a button. And I'm sure it's not the same as touching, you know, a CD or a vinyl record, you know. It's not the same. It's never gonna be the same. But it's just bizarre that everything, I remember spending hours and hours and hours downloading music, and days. I would wait days, just like you guys. When an album would drop, you would be like, oh my god, next month, you know, like the new Steely Dan or the new Zeppelin is coming out, I can't wait. And then we would, you know, download the music, and sometimes we had to wait a day or a week, depending on if the song was being shared, you know, or just buy. I mean, we were still in the buying. Even when I met Alexia, we collected around 700 movies together, you know. You know, all the great films of, you know, before and now, and yeah, so we're big physical media guys. But, you know, now it's just like, it's over. They basically told us, you know, go home. We're done, you know, we're done selling. It's heartbreaking, because I loved to take an afternoon and go, hey, let's go DVD hunting or Blu-ray hunting or CD hunting, you know. And now it's just like, yeah, don't even bother anymore. It's sad. That is a sad thing. But, well, you know, maybe it comes back, who knows. Again, Dave, thank you so much for the marathon. I enjoyed it very, very much. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, comment below, all that good stuff. Like the video, dislike it, whatever you feel like. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.